morning, good afternoon, Ohio gozaimasu. I was thinking this morning that Ohio, because so much in Shakespeare, there's so many O's. I'm gonna count how many O's there are in Shakespeare, but it starts out with Ohio gozaimasu, so it's kind of perfect. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about cloves, or the clove, and it is related to last week's apples and oranges and lemons because as I was saying, even Shakespeare has an off day, and his big quote I'm Garrett Quayle, author of Botanical Shakespeare. We are back in New York, as you can see, and we start off with breathing and a little crush and sniff. Look what happened to my rosemary tree in being gone for just a week. And when you crush it, of course, it makes a big mess. But it still has an amazing scent, and it doesn't have the scent just sitting here dry. Like, if you stick your nose in it, it doesn't smell like anything. But if you squish it and crush and sniff, you get that amazing scent. And just breathe to clean your internal organs on a Sunday morning. Crush and sniff to activate and clean those brain connections and get you going. Should be good. The other one, I think, is some sort of a pine, because it has definitely a different scent. Not rosemary. And I have a bunch of stuff from the farmer's market. I keep threatening to do a parsley show. So it's a little limp from the car ride, but this is actually really beautiful parsley. And we have... Do you remember this from the line of the week? I am a bunch of radish. That is Falstaff. Super easy line. I am a bunch of radish. Who doesn't feel like a bunch of radish sometimes? And these really beautiful carrots. And carrot is a sex joke in Shakespeare. It's a joke on this Latin lesson in Merry Wives of Windsor. And the Latin teacher, Hugh Evans, says, and the vocative is carrot, and Mistress Quickly has the bum joke line when she says, and that's a good root, har har. But that is Shakespeare's way of getting the F-bomb in there as well. So naughty, but look at how beautiful these carrots are. You know, they don't look like those perfect grocery store carrots. They look, I don't even know if Mistress Quickly's line would work with these carrots. And then finally, we have the clove. Now, so that goes with the lemon line, which is a lemon. Shakespeare says, a lemon, and that's Biron, and I think Longaville says in Love's Labour's Lost, stuck with cloves. So there you go. There are the cloves. And so there they are. And the thing is, they're incredibly aromatic, and they're one of the things that go in pumpkin pie spice, because as we know, pumpkin is not actually a spice, nor does it have any flavors. So the pumpkin pie spice is ginger and nutmeg and clove. And today, my nephew is with me. I've never had somebody watch the show before, so this is a little weird for me. But, maybe you want to pop your head in here at some point. You can see we have the same nose. Just show them your nose. Nose. Thank you, Andrew. William Andrew. How perfect a name is that for a Shakespeare nephew? So Hannah is going to talk to us about the healing properties of clove. But here's the amazing thing about it. I made my nephew a hemp tea, and I forget what episode hemp is. Do you know which episode hemp was? Can you look it up in your index? Or we had Tammy Sweet talking about hemp and how relaxing it is. Oh, actually, he's a little bit of an expert on this as well. What is the difference between the THC and the CBD?
So the THC is psychoactive, meaning it's going to affect you mentally, while the CBD is non-psychoactive, so you're just going to get that relaxed, free-flowing feeling.
Okay, so we're going for a relaxed, free-flowing feeling. So I made him some hemp tea, but it tasted bad. So I put a bunch of clove in it, and it tasted
Very good.
Very good. Okay, I see Hannah has joined, so we're gonna find her and bring her on here. Hannah! Oh, look, we look sort of red and green in a muted kind of way. So, how are you this afternoon? 4:15 your time.
4:15, all good. Bit chilly, but okay.
Okay, so we are talking about clove today. How can we heal ourselves with the clove, aside from masking the disgusting flavor of hemp tea?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on what you think is a nice flavour. Clove is incredibly powerful. It's a really, really pungent spice. And it's Latin. I wrote down the Latin because I can never remember it. It's Syzygium aromaticum.
Wow.
Which is a really fancy Latin one.
Syzygium aromaticum. That's a great name.
It really is. It's going down proper Harry Potter territory, that one. So it's not actually something we use an awful lot in modern herbal medicine. Back when we sort of, when herbalists used to use powders more, Mrs. Grieve in the 1930s used to write about there being a powdered extract of clove that you could either put with your food or you could make an infusion with and use that for flatulence and nausea. Now, I think for me, it would probably make me feel a little bit sick. So, different things for different folks.
No, I can totally see why clove would relax nausea, though. Like I was saying, putting it in the hemp tea, because it does taste bad, and it doesn't. And I love the scent. I love the flavor. I mean, sure, you can get too much of any good thing is bad, but anyway. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's one of those ones that if you use it in the right amount, perfect. But it doesn't really need a lot to get an effect. And so that's kind of internally where it's always been used in that sort of dispelling wind, and it's very warming, and it's mildly antispasmodic, so it stops spasming. But most of the actions that it is used for in sort of for its medicinal uses is with the essential oil of clove. And it's one of those essential oils that are really kind of best if you dilute it and put it in a carrier oil. But it's, as well as its sort of most famous use, which I'll come on to in a minute, you can mix it with you can mix clove essential oil with a carrier oil, like any carrier oil, sunflower oil or almond oil or whatever you want to use. And you can use it in rubs for gout. Because it's going to be stimulating and getting that sort of heat moving through. And you can also add it into balms and oil rubs for the chest as well, because it is so warming and because it's so aromatic, really gets through into the lung tissue. But have you come across its main use for teeth?
A little, yes, I have, but I just want to say something about that. I mean, I would prefer a clove oil to like Vicks Vapo Rub, I mean, that's much nicer smell. And yeah, I thought that had an antiseptic property too. And isn't that why it's used for teeth as well? Clove powder?
It's anesthetic. Yeah, it's pain killing. So rather than sorry, I thought you said antiseptic. Sorry. So it's a very, very mild anesthetic. So it's very mildly pain killing. So if you have toothache and you can't get to a dentist or dental practitioner soon enough, you can put some clove oil, ideally diluted in a little bit of carrier oil, on a fairly good sized bit of cotton wool so you don't swallow it, and wedge it in your gum. And just let it sit there on your gum and go through that way as a mild anaesthetic, but it tastes horrid.
Oh, really? Why?
It's an acquired taste. It's you can probably tell I don't like cloves very much.
Oh, really? Oh, God. I do. I do. I just love them. And I have an old gas stove. So it's kind of like an Aga in England. And so the pilot light is always on, and I can put clove on the stove, and it just has its very gentle scent that makes it just feel kind of, delicious, like there's a pumpkin spice latte lurking somewhere in the corner, if you like that sort of thing. Anyway, so yeah, and also I just think putting it in any kind of tea or something that you don't like sort of mitigates the bitterness of whatever that is. So anyway, so it's a very Christmassy smell, I guess, because of the pumpkin spice and all that. It's in pumpkin pies, and my grandmother used to make mincemeat pie, which of course is different than the 16th century mincemeat, and probably the mincemeats that was actually minced meat. But the mincemeat pies that my grandmother made were sweet, raisins and cloves and all that kind of stuff. And there was no pieces of sweetmeats or anything like that going on at all. So anyway, so okay, so there's some uses for clove that you can use, and you can make a 16th century pumpkin spice latte if you want. Pumpkin spice latte, of course. And as we always talk about Nature's Pharmacy, the line of the week, it's St. Nicholas Day today. Did you know that, Hannah? No. Yeah, so that's where St. Nicholas became Santa Claus, Nicholas Claus. Anyway, but anyhow, so that kind of German tradition, but St. Nicholas is mentioned in Shakespeare a couple of times, and St. Nicholas be thy speed. So certainly easy line of the week, not very pithy, but the other clove line is stuck with cloves. And I keep threatening to show you a pomander, but next week we're going to talk about recommended Christmas gifts that have long-term uses, don't damage the planet, help you stay healthy, and Nature's Pharmacy, using Nature's Pharmacy a little more. One of the things that I forgot, another very Christmassy smell, this is chocolate mint. I thought that it smelled like spearmint at the farmer's market. Not really still getting a lot of the chocolate, but that's what he said. Anyway, but it's another great crush and sniff one. Anyway, so we'll be talking about recommended holiday gifts if you're going that way. It'll be so interesting to see how the holiday plays out after this crazy year. Are people going to go nuts and overdo? And St. Nicholas be thy speed, last night in tradition, they put out the socks and they got fruits and nuts, because that was the precious and special thing. Oh, and the other thing I had from the farmer's market is carnations or gillyflowers, which is July flowers, because they only bloomed in summer. And how lucky we are that we can kind of get all of these things year round. And maybe we don't appreciate them as much because they're so accessible. But thinking about that. I'm getting preachy, so we're going to get off. but I will be right back with the cards. And, go clove. Go happy cloving.